Hey guys, it's Ryan. One of the Paincast's main sponsors is Southern Promotions Group. Southern Promotions Group is your one-stop shop for screen printing, embroidery, and promotional products. It's located in Cleveland, Tennessee, and their office is located at 3535 Keith Street. I know Greg has used SPG on several occasions, and TP and I wore his material while playing college baseball at Lee University. We love the service and the product that Travis puts out. You won't find a better guy to handle all your team's needs. Check out southernpromogroup.com for more info. That's southernpromogroup.com.
Welcome into the Paincast, episode 13. Baker's Dozen. We don't buy into the unlucky number 13 because why? Dave Concepcion was number 13 for the Big Red Machine, and it certainly wasn't unlucky for him.
I was about to make the comment. Should we just skip it and say it's episode 14? But obviously not.
Nope, not doing it. 13, Dave Concepcion, even though he did lie to me when I was 8 years old to my face.
What'd he do?
I'll tell that story in just a minute. This is Greg Payne. I'm here with my real son, Tyler Payne.
Yes, sir.
And my work son, Ryan Beamish Payne.
Howdy.
We'll let you be a Payne.
I'm already a Tennessee fan. It can't get any worse.
That's a good point. Okay, so Dave Concepcion, this is a totally unscheduled story here, 8 years old. I'm in Cincinnati. Back in the day, you know, when I was 8 years old, so you're talking about in the mid-1970s, they didn't have, obviously, the internet. You didn't have, if you wanted... Like I was a Cincinnati Reds fan, so they had a team store in Cincinnati, and that's the only place I ever saw Cincinnati stuff. They didn't have it down here in Chattanooga. So it was pretty cool to go into that store. My dad took me in there. We're up there for Karen's wedding, 100 years ago because she's extremely old. And so anyway, we're in there, and immediately I notice it's Dave Concepcion. Now this is in 1976, so it's just after the Reds had swept the Yankees.
And going back to back. So, yeah, and there were signs all over Cincinnati that said, "We're still Reds hot," and all that. And I remember that. It was very cool. And so I go into this store in downtown Cincinnati. Tyler, you've been there in the team store. I'm sure I have. I just don't remember it.
You definitely have. Dave Concepcion was not in there when you went. But regardless, I was in there, and there was Dave Concepcion. Now, he wasn't there signing autographs or anything like that. He was just in there. But he had a button on that was of himself, which I found bizarre. Even at 8, I thought, why would someone do that? So me being 8 and being Greg Payne, not yet fully Greg Payne, but you know what I mean, I walked over and said, "You're Dave Concepcion," as if he didn't know that because he had the pen right there, but also was a big enough fan to know who he was. I said, "You're Dave Concepcion." You know what he did? Looked at me and said, "No. Yes, you are. Yes, you are." I even said, "Yes, you are." I'm arguing with a guy about his identity.
Yeah.
And my dad, to this day, John Payne, can't stand Dave Concepcion.
That's funny.
Because he lied to his 8-year-old son.
That's funny.
Yep. So that's the story
Love
there.
that.
I wasn't ever bitter over Concepcion about it, whatever. But my dad would not pee on him if he was on fire.
Heck of a last name, too.
Concepcion. It went all the way
It's like
in a big arch across his back.
Yeah, it's like Francisco. That's fun to say.
That's fun to say. Yeah. All right, so we have a fantastic interview with a pretty good ball player. I've seen him play. He's all right.
He's got his one major flaw. He was a Baylor Red Raider.
Yeah, and all that could have been prevented, but it didn't happen. We're not going to tell that story. But regardless, Cooper Kinney, first round pick, first round guy. I mean, just an awesome. It's hard to call him a kid because the guy's a professional baseball player and he signed a contract for more money than I'm probably ever going to make. So
he's a grown man now.
He's a grown man now and making his own money, living his own life. But first round pick for the Tampa Bay Rays. Can't say Devil Rays anymore. That's bad. So it's
ridiculous.
It's offensive to
offensive to the devil.
Stingrays.
Yeah. So the Tampa Bay Rays, he along with Cole Wilcox and Logan Workman, we are officially Tampa Bay. We're unofficially Tampa Bay Rays fans.
Yeah.
because we're Cincinnati and Atlanta fans, and we have a Chicago Cubs fan here, so we don't really have room for another team.
I mean, if anyone wants to be a Cubs fan, I'm happy for that. I
No.
mean, what do you mean no?
No.
Okay, who's won a World Series in the past decade?
Who's won?
Right. First time I ever got to say that.
Point.
Nice.
Good point.
Nice.
But no, I mean, it's funny. Y'all here towards the end of the podcast, Cooper actually takes a couple of shots at Workman.
He does.
Those two local boys drafted, just 6 rounds apart, and they probably live within 10, 15 miles of each other.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to get Workman on here to defend himself, his golf game especially.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to get Cole on too, see if he can grace us with his presence.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and shout out his podcast too, Diamonds in the Rough. Look them up. They got really good minor league baseball content. Looking forward to the minor league baseball season because I know they're going to have really good stuff on there.
Let's say this about Cole Wilcox, just like I say about Matthew Crownover. They better be glad their moms were athletes because I know both their dads. I'm just kidding. They're both good guys, and what a great family. Both the Crownovers and the Wilcoxes, such great families. Great to see Cole doing as well as he's doing, and we want to see him get, rehab, get better, and make it to the big leagues because he's definitely got a big league body for sure and big league stuff. So
Massive human being.
he really is.
A unit? Is that what
He's
you
a
call
big dude. All right, so moving on, we're going to – I lost my outline here, Tyler. What were we supposed to talk about first?
Okay, so first of all, Lyndsay's little comment about the Eagles. Okay. Yeah. I saw your Facebook post, and immediately I was like, holy crap. And I texted her. I said, I can't believe that you didn't know who that was, what you're doing. She said, in my defense, and she sent me 3 text messages and a picture.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could tell she was visually upset by it.
Yes.
Okay. And she said, well, I was just Snapchatting one of my friends, and they were talking about buying tickets for the Eagles and Cowboys games, or they were talking about the game or something.
Yeah.
And she said, a couple minutes later, Dad asked me to buy tickets for the Eagles. And she's like, oh, well, cool. Do they play the Cowboys? So she knows who the Eagles are.
But playing in Nashville, though.
Yeah, and then I came to her defense on Facebook and said, listen, in her defense, the Eagles and Cowboys are playing this weekend, just not in Nashville.
Right.
But
she knows that my all-time favorite band is the Eagles, right? So,
yeah.
But regardless.
It's not just Queen?
I love Queen. But I'm going to tell you what. I really made a mistake by not going to see Adam Lambert fronting for Queen when they toured because I closed-mindedly said, that ain't Freddie Mercury.
I ain't going to watch.
Yep. Because in my mind, and we can argue this if you want, greatest frontman in the history of rock and roll is Freddie Mercury.
Well, he's up there.
And I just couldn't imagine Queen without Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Because I went to see, not even go to see, I watched a documentary on Netflix, and it was freaking fantastic. Yeah. So I do love some Queen, but no, they're not. The Eagles they've always been, they're number one. That's just how it is. And I understand that they're not really the Eagles either because they don't have the original members and Glenn.
Well, there's a lot of bands from, back in the day, like when you were growing up, that aren't really, like Journey is not really Journey anymore, even though that guy's pretty awesome.
He's good, but I mean, there's only one Steve Perry. Yeah. That's how that works. But
speaking of Steve Perry, San Francisco, you're going out there, right?
San Francisco, yeah. I will be there this weekend and never been there before. Mm-hmm. I understand. You know what's funny is when you tell someone where you're going, they want to tell you bad things about where you're going. Oh, San Francisco sucks. They got human feces out in the middle of the road. Okay. Yes. I mean, I get it, but it's still pretty magnificent, right? I've never been there. I'm going to go to Alcatraz. I'm going to see the Golden Gate. I'm going to do the tourist stuff.
You're not living there.
I'm not living there. Exactly. I'm going there for 2 days, and then I'm driving over to Sacramento for a few days, where I hook up, with the group from Summit Funding, including my work son, Ryan Beamish Payne.
I'll be out there.
He'll be out there. First visit, and he's going to have his mind blown, TP. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
He has no idea.
I've heard the legendary summer retreat.
I told him, I said, I went to a Northwestern Mutual one, and it was freaking awesome. Yeah. I said, I can't imagine one. I'm sure Summit Funding is just as good.
It's great. And he'll learn a lot, so that's good. But, San Francisco this weekend, Sacramento the rest of the week. And, it'll be a good time, I hope. I hope that I'm safe and no one throws human feces at me when I'm out there.
Going to Alcatraz, it makes me think of Clint Eastwood.
Of course.
We were just talking about that.
Of course. Yeah, Clint Eastwood.
Legendary movie.
Absolutely. Let me say this.
Did they
Don't go
survive?
see his latest movie. That was terrible.
Yeah. Did they survive?
No.
Ooh.
What? Let's
Yeah.
get some conspiracy theory on the podcast. Do we think they survived? Because years later, there was a guy who claimed to be whatever his name is.
That's true.
And sent in a letter, said it's me.
Yeah,
Like
that- yeah.
I totally survived.
Copycats exist everywhere, though. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, they did kind of just blow it off because here's the thing: if they prove that it was true, man, it looks bad on them,
Right.
right?
That's true. You got to keep up the legend anyway. Nobody ever made it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
like it that
I don't know. I'll go out there and do some research, and I'll report back to you.
sounds good to me.
Let you know.
P.I. Greg Payne, private investigator. Love it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've been called a lot worse. So whatever. All right. So we're gonna move on to the news segment. You want to?
Yes, we're gonna go ahead and move into the second edition of the Triple H segment.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
So for those of you new to the podcast, this is our Triple H segment where we do a hero, a highlight, and a heartache of the week. And I'm going to go ahead and lead off. And I'll just say this. My hero of the week is Ken Rosenthal.
Absolutely.
I think
That man right there, standing up to the tyrant Rob Manfred.
Fired for
you-
doing his job.
You stole my hero.
Oh, did I?
Thank you. No, I mean
we don't compare notes on this.
We don't compare notes.
Yeah.
You see, we're legit on this program. So now I'm going to think of a new
Yeah,
hero.
this is top
There we
secret
go.
stuff until we actually get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going next. 'Cause
so you
I'm
could-
gonna let you get mine.
Well, thanks.
I would
Okay.
be surprised if you get his because his is actually a pretty good one.
Of course it is.
Okay, well, you two are conspiring now.
Well,
I'm the
no,
one in the dark.
I saw
here.
it. I
Oh,
cheated. I cheated.
And then,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's not supposed to do
So,
that.
but yeah. Anyways, moving on.
Bunch of pains in this freaking office.
Ken Rosenthal gets fired for basically his criticism on Rob Manfred, which sounds a lot like 1940s Nazi Germany, right?
Well, I
I
tell
mean,
you
it's
what.
not exactly like that.
I tell you
but-
what, it's a good thing Rob Manfred can't see my Facebook post because he'd fire me from Summit Funding.
Yeah, he gets you
He'd
fired from
ban you.
Summit.
He'd
I
ban
can't
you from all
yeah,
stadiums.
I can't go to they take my season tickets away from me. I can't stand that guy.
Let me just go ahead. Let me back up. I'm not actually comparing it to 1940s Nazi
know.
Germany.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're gonna be on national news.
I just don't want to upset anybody with that. It's merely a joke.
Please don't cancel Tyler. Please.
Oh, go ahead and try. Yeah, whatever. If people get upset over the stupidest things,
Yeah.
So, and bottom line is, they're just words.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I learned a little song, "Sticks and Stones." You know.
Bring my bones. Word
Oh gosh,
yeah.
no anymore. You say something, you hurt somebody's feelings, you're in big trouble.
All right, Bean Dog. What's your
Hey,
hero?
you better not take mine.
I'm
He
not
ain't
going to
going
take yours.
to.
I just got a new hero because I was just looking for something today that could be impressive. And you guys know who my favorite baseball player is. It's
Okay.
Anthony Rizzo.
Rizzo.
So 1 decade ago, so 10 years ago today, the Cubs made a trade from the Padres to get Mr. Anthony Rizzo.
What a heck of a trade.
What
for
a
them.
heck of a trade. I don't even remember who they traded. I think they traded like Jason Hamill and oh my God, I don't even know. I mean, they got Anthony Rizzo. So
Yeah, they obviously got their money's worth
there
out of
goes
that
the
trade.
all-star first baseman, World Series winner. Heck of a guy.
You think he goes back to the Yankees?
I was going to say yes before the lockout.
Okay.
But I've heard since Freddie Freeman didn't sign, there was a lot of noise before the lockout that the Yankees were trying to get Freddie.
Okay.
And Freddie held out. Freddie's
I do
not with
remember
anyone
that.
right now.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So if I don't even know if we can say when, but I mean we could say when these lockouts end.
Yeah.
I feel like the Yankees might start pushing for old Freddie instead
I
of
would
Anthony.
take Freddie over Rizzo. For sure.
I would too.
Yeah, I would too.
Just as the player that Freddie is right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Moving on.
Anthony always go back to the Cubs though. I won't be disappointed about that.
Yeah.
My hero is without compare this week.
Yep.
It's Joe Rogan.
That man has a bigger audience than CNN and MSNBC combined.
Love that.
Now listen, we're not going to talk politics on this show. The people who try to make everything political are the people who basically are trying to control you. Okay?
Yeah, this isn't political. This is about information. This is just information.
Joe Rogan is not being political. He's being open.
Yeah.
And the people that try to shut him down, that's the problem.
There's a couple people in this world that I think are uncancelable. It's Joe Rogan, Dave Portnoy, and Clay Travis.
And you guys can
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yeah.
You guys can pretty much put Ken Rosenthal and Joe Rogan in that same category then right now for you guys as heroes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never going to get mad at somebody for speaking their mind, for saying what they truly believe. That's
even if I don't agree with it. Like,
absolutely
cares?
right. But if you have an agenda and you're trying to shut out other people's information, or you're trying to cancel people, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You're the problem. Yeah. Stop trying to control people. All right, moving on.
All right, so my highlight of the week is when I was growing up, I played for the Stingers I actually was playing for Team Mizuno at one point in time. Mm-hmm. I think I was
11.
like 11, okay. And then I picked up at the end of the year for Chiefs baseball. It used to be called Chattanooga Chiefs, okay. Now, I think there have been a couple of teams here and there with the Chattanooga Chiefs over the past couple of years, but not any team that I have, I just haven't seen them in a while. But that all changes this spring. I'm coaching a 9-year-old baseball team, and we're calling them Chiefs Baseball. We're going to be the same colors. I don't know. I don't think we'll have the same logo. We'll probably come up with a cooler logo. But I'm bringing Chiefs Baseball, that program, back from the grave.
You're resurrecting the Chiefs.
Resurrecting them. And it's going to be so much fun.
Did the Frick sign off on this? Because
I don't know. There could be some. I might have to
trademark.
I might have to hit up Drake and be like, "Hey, man, can I can I get the logo and all the schemes that you guys used?" But yeah, so coaching a bunch of boys out of the Cleveland, McMinn, Polk County. I think we got about 11 or 12 players. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna play in a lot of tournaments around here. Apparently, they're pretty good. I'll be coaching. Coach Adam's son, the head coach over there at Bradley Baseball. Hopefully to have him on here in the next couple of weeks on our Around the Bases segment.
He's not a man of many words. I've interviewed him before.
No, he's not. But man, if you can get him talking, if you can get him to open up a little bit, he is sneaky funny.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right, and you can
he's a baseball guy.
Yeah, and you can never tell when he's being serious and when he's not. Like there was a time, I was new around there up at Bradley. Football season just ended, so I started coming to some baseball practices. And he comes up to me and says something, and I was like, "Oh dang, he sounds mad at me." I look back at Coach Day, Coach Lynn, Coach Thompson. They're all just dying laughing because they could see how visibly scared I was.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's my highlight of the week. Chiefs baseball is back.
All right, I guess I'll go to my highlight. My highlight I don't know if you want to call this a highlight because I made a vow in my life I would never get TikTok or post a video on TikTok.
Uh-oh.
But I have broken that sacred vow and am currently going to have to walk on my hands and knees in repentance for it. But I have made a TikTok video.
And it's fantastic. I'm going to
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it.
It's
yes.
so out of character
Completely.
and so good.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give your TikTok name there.
It's the Beamish Mortgage Guy on TikTok. Beamish Mortgage Guy.
On TikTok.
Good
Beamish
stuff. Be
Mortgage
sure to
Guy.
give him a follow.
Please give me a...
really, really good.
Yep.
I'm not joking. I'm not just saying that because he works for me. Maybe I am, but it is still really good.
I'm not the kind of guy who does funny videos or things like that or tries to put something out there, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, he's very to himself. Like when I try to go text him past 6 o'clock, in my text message say, Beamish has silenced his notifications.
That's not a Payne Mortgage team thing. We're going to have to talk about
That's true. Sometimes
gets home, got to be with the wife and the baby.
If I'm with the wife, yeah, I'm going to try to silence it because it's easy for me to get distracted too, and I'm trying to spend time with my wife. And then sometimes I'm old. I feel like I'm older than Greg sometimes, where I go to bed at like 8:30 or 9 just because that's just
I went to bed the other night at 8:30.
Woo.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
even I haven't done that.
All right, moving on. Dad, what is your highlight of the week?
I watched season 4 of Cobra Kai.
Oh, stop right there.
I'm not going to give me spoilers.
No more talking about it because tonight is the night. Thomas is back in town.
Yep.
Okay. We played the first game of spades of the year. All right. So tonight is Cobra Kai night.
Yep.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and mute myself to where I can't hear the rest of this.
No, I'm not going to give you spoilers. I'm going to give people an opportunity to watch
Was it awesome?
Not until towards the end.
Okay.
It was, Kinda
slow.
of it was, it's extremely cheesy, but it's got 80s music. If you expect a lot out of that, you're just dumb. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. It is an escape. It's great to watch. It's reliving stuff. I love going back, and they continue to bring back characters from the past.
Yeah.
And so, everybody knows which one they're bringing back this time. And so, go ahead.
I'll ask this. Is there going to be a season 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Without question.
Excellent.
There's no doubt. And the very last 10 seconds. 60 seconds. But 10
Cobra
seconds.
Kai tends to do that.
At the very end, you'll be like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Ready to go for season 5. Okay, so that brings up the question: were you a Miyagi-Do or a Cobra Kai guy growing up?
Dude,
I'm Miyagi-Do.
no.
I love Mr. Miyagi.
I love Mr. Miyagi, but Daniel's son is a wuss.
Yeah, Daniel's son did. If you watch the movie, he actually did kind of bring all of that on himself.
Yes.
But Miyagi is what does it for me.
I love Mr.
that guy.
Miyagi.
I love the mentality of the Cobra Kai thing. No mercy, sweep the leg.
Yeah, strike first.
I know we're talking about conspiracy theories here, but I have a conspiracy theory, and I saw it on YouTube, so it's not mine at all.
Okay.
That Mr. Miyagi is actually the antagonist. Like, he's the bad guy in the movie.
I've seen
Have you seen that?
Interesting.
Okay, I just making sure.
Okay.
I mean, jumps kids.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I've seen
He
that.
does jump kids.
That was my question. I was
Yeah.
like,
I haven't even thought about it that way.
yeah.
But I've always been Team Johnny on that. Cobra
Yeah.
Kai, Team Johnny.
Yep.
I just loved the mean. I mean, again, I'm the same guy
You're
that
a
always.
heel.
Yes,
Yeah.
I liked Ric Flair forever, even most especially when he was a bad guy. Lex Luger, the only time I really liked him when he's a bad guy. When he's a good guy, I'm like, nah.
Right.
You know. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, good deal. So moving on to heartache. My heartache of the week is that from 9 to 12 this morning, I had to sit in a continuing education class for code of ethics to be a realtor. And let me tell you what, if you want to lose brain cells, go to that because
any CE.
I'm telling you, it comes down to this. I can sum it up in 4 words. Be a good person.
Don't
You know what?
stupid.
Don't be, yeah.
For some people, that's much easier said than done, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, come on. Some of the, I mean, it really is, or it should be, common sense stuff. Okay? And if you are a realtor out there listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just hoops that they make you jump through. And I had quite the wake-up call yesterday when I got an email saying my membership was about to be suspended. Had nothing to do with my license, but my membership with the local G car was about to be suspended because I hadn't gone to that class yet. And I was like, well, I didn't know I was supposed to go, right? Because I signed up at Keller Williams at first, but I was flipping those houses, so I wasn't really doing a whole lot of realtor stuff. And I panicked. I called Tracy. I said, Tracy, what's going on?
That's fine.
And but she led me in the right direction, and luckily they had one today, so
There you go.
got that taken care of.
That's good stuff. That is definitely a heartache. Any
Yeah.
continuing education class to me is a
For
heartache.
sure.
It is.
Ryan?
My heartache is last night I was working out with former Major League Baseball player Jorge Saez. And unfortunately, I cannot deadlift 400 pounds anymore. I haven't deadlifted in a while, and I tried to do 400 pounds.
He
and
hurt
I couldn't do
himself.
it. My legs are a little tender this morning.
He got in the car, and we're going to get lunch,
Yeah.
and he goes, man, my legs are hurting. I'm like, why? And he goes, I tried to deadlift yesterday. I said, there's no need to deadlift anymore. Like, we're not playing college baseball. I said,
I'm
you
just
get
a
back
regular
squat.
person.
Yeah, get some full depth back squat in there.
Yeah. Greg Payne's not deadlifting anything. And I
Yeah.
work out 5-6 days a week. I
Yeah.
ain't deadlifting.
I work out as much as I possibly can.
Here's a question. Can Jorge still deadlift quite a bit?
Jorge can. Jorge's a strong guy.
Well, he's what? He's just a year and a half removed from professional baseball.
Yeah, he's 30, 31 years old. So, I mean, he's still
I saw Jorge yesterday. Dude's a beast.
beast. Killing it as a hitting coach, by the way. Everyone sings his praises up there because, I mean, he's doing a really good job as he is. But trying to deadlift with Jorge, and he was trying to hype me up and got a little bit off the ground, but I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, what happened to my power?
Where's your dad's strength?
The baby's not here yet.
All right,
The baby's got
so
to
it's only after it comes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Upon arrival, that
Exactly.
strength is initiated,
It'll
unlocked.
come in then.
Exactly.
For
So,
sure.
so I got like the kind of cement leg walk going on. I don't know if you notice.
I do legs twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just not doing deadlifts. But I mean, I'll do rack pulls.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not doing, I don't have no flexibility in my hips. It's terrible.
If you're in pain, you have bad hamstrings.
Yeah, and that's right. So why would I want to do that? All right, heartache for me of the week. Last night, I'd already finished Cobra Kai. So there's
Big letdown there, anyways. It's just like
I mean,
you're
that's
upset
sad
it's
enough.
over. Yeah.
That's sad enough. But I decided, let's watch Moonshiners is on, and I really like that show. I don't know what it says about me necessarily that I don't have to read the captions at the bottom when they, like people that talk that they can
You
understand.
speak their language.
I know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
Regardless, I decided to watch college basketball.
Oh God.
And I watched the Tennessee Mississippi game. And Tennessee went 1 for their first 14. Now, let me tell you something.
Is that good?
Let me tell you something. I am not a basketball player. I once went 0 for 10 from the free throw line in a church league game.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm positive I could have made 1 out of 14 yesterday. And those guys are, they're Division I basketball players. And it was so frustrating. I just turned it. And then I turned it back. I'm just back and forth on the commercials to the Moonshiners. I'm watching basketball.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how Ole Miss didn't win that game because Tennessee did not deserve to win. But Ole Miss was almost as equally bad when they had an opportunity to just put them away, and they didn't. And so regardless, Tennessee comes back. They go to overtime. The Ole Miss player makes just as dumb of a play as I've seen somebody make on a basketball court. And then Tennessee guy jacks up a shot that really he should have made. I mean, if you're a lottery guy, you got to make that shot. And he missed it, so they go to overtime, and Tennessee wins in overtime. But at some point in time when I was watching this frustrating, terrible offensive performance, I thought, what's happened to me?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
It's because you're not doing lessons anymore. You got to find something to fill your time.
Right. I just am not used to being there at night, and I don't know. But that's I'm sad for me, really.
Gotcha.
Are you just? Is it just another? It's like the straw that breaks the camel's back in a sense of being a Tennessee fan. It's like you don't like basketball. You're not a big basketball fan, but you turn on the Tennessee game and what do you know? They go 1 for 14.
1 for 14. For the first 10.
Oh, so
I saw somebody tweet that said, "Man, it's a lot of fun to watch this defense, but man, it's not a lot of fun to watch this offense."
Which is the exact opposite from the football team. So yeah. So there's it. There's our Triple H segment. Now we're going to end the three guys talking and listen to the star of this podcast, one Cooper Kinney. Let me tell you something, guys. If you don't know Cooper Kinney, get to know the name. If you are lucky enough to know him, you know that all the success that comes his way is completely earned. Mm-hmm. The guy works his rear end off. Nothing is given to him. It's really cool that he got to share all that with his dad being the coach at Baylor. Tyler, you and I got to share something similar, and that was great. Cooper does a great job of talking about his dad, talking about his family, talking about Baylor. Does not want to accept the fact that, had I been coaching against him, everything would have been a lot different. Yeah. But we got a chance, both of us got a chance to coach Cooper, and he's just such a great guy. I think all you guys will love this interview.
Got quite possibly the smoothest lefty swing that I've ever seen.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Let me finish over there, sir. I said quite possibly the smoothest lefty swing I've ever seen at the age of 16.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big league swing.
Big league swing, great finish, generates a lot of torque. Yeah. The dude is he's a really good hitter, but he's a really good baseball player, but he's just a top-notch guy.
Top-notch guy.
If you don't love Cooper Kinney, you will after this interview. All right? So
absolutely.
Take some time, listen to this. Hope you enjoy it. Send your feedback in to us, Tyler.
At thepaincast1, that's the number 1, at gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, and you can follow us or like and subscribe on YouTube because we are slowly uploading our episodes there, and hopefully here sometime soon in the next couple of months we'll be able to have video up for you guys on YouTube. So yeah, that's where you can.
Means you get to see our ugly mugs.
Yeah,
that's what that means.
Right. Mine's everywhere anyway, so it's whatever. But also, just a little tease here. We're working on maybe an interview guest next week that would be pretty big time. Pretty big time. I'm not going to tell you. I can't say that. We don't have it on the hook.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have it on the hook yet.
I don't know. It said this. I don't control. I don't control the guests. Okay.
Yeah. We have a soft commitment, but we don't have the hard commitment on it yet.
I come up with who I think we should bring on, and basically Dad and I we go to seal the deal. This one's behind my back. I don't know how much I like that.
Anyway,
sounds like Beamish knows. So there's a little.
I've had some conversations.
Yeah. So yeah, TP's out of the loop. He's out of the circle of trust.
I love that. I love the fear on his face.
I'm the reason we have a podcast. So I can just shut this off right now.
No, but the cards and letters, the people would be outraged.
Yeah, they'd be pissed at me.
Yeah. All right. So for my work son, Ryan Beamish Payne.
Yes, sir.
My real son, Tyler Payne, the bitter Tyler Payne.
Yes, very bitter.
Yep. I'm Greg Payne. This has been episode 13 of the Payncast. Enjoy first rounder Cooper Kinney. All right, folks, we are here with Tampa Rays first round choice, Baylor School alum, exposure baseball stud, all around good guy, Cooper Kinney. Cooper, welcome to the Payncast.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Super good dude, but man, can we not mention Baylor on this podcast?
well, we didn't have to coach against Cooper, so he was successful at Baylor, extremely successful. You guys, you won a state championship every single time that you could, right? The COVID one cost you, but y'all were essentially 3 for 3. Is that right?
Sure did, yeah. 3 for 3. Should have been 4 for 4, but it got cut short.
Yeah, I mean your team was okay. I mean you probably would have won. I don't
Team
know.
USA.
A couple of good guys there. All right. So before we dig on into the Baylor stuff, and we'll do a little blue and red. Before we dig onto that, what I want to do is go back even before that. I met you when you were a 5th grader, I believe that was, and
I think so.
Yep. So let's do this. All right. Everybody who has ever heard your name knows that you're a baseball player, baseball extraordinaire. You've been raised up by a coach. Your dad played college baseball, and so what I want to do is I want to go back to your youth playing days. Kind of tell me how that got started. What kind of influence Dad had on you with your getting started in the game, and just basically what's it like growing up as a coach's kid?
Right. Yeah. So, growing up, I played a ton of different sports and, grew up in an athletic family, but my dad was a high school coach at the time. So, I was always around the game of baseball, even from, when I was just born. So, I loved playing other sports. I played basketball. I played some soccer, played some football, growing up. But, after school, I'd go to my dad's practice after the game, and after school was over, and, I'd be in the last group of BP for however long, since I was like 3 or 4 years old. So, just being kind of in the game for so long has kind of, made me fall in love with it. And I loved baseball, and it was always my favorite growing up just because, I'm always around it. And obviously my dad's a coach, and, we kind of bonded over that. And, I've always hit with him and put in a lot of work with him. And so, having him as a coach really drove my love for the game for sure.
I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm watching Tyler, and it's almost like you're telling his childhood too.
Yeah,
because
very similar.
He, that little guy came over to my baseball practices at Gordon Lee, and he would throw the baseball up against the wall a million times. He would beg anybody to play catch with him, throw him a couple of balls, whatever. And I have no doubt that you're exactly the same way. So,
right, it's exactly the same. Just being around baseball for my whole life, ever since I was born, definitely just, it gives a different influence. I mean, I love other sports, but, I'm always back at the baseball field somehow, some way. So.
There's no telling how many baseballs I ruined throwing them up against the wall over there at Gordon Lee, over against the brick wall.
Sure.
No, we accept no responsibility towards that. Gordon Lee, do not send us a bill over that. These were old baseballs to begin with.
Yeah.
So, all right. Before I go any further, I probably need to tell who your dad is, or actually I'll let you tell who your dad is.
So my dad's Mike Kinney. He's the head coach at Baylor. This is his 5th year as the head coach. And he coached at multiple other places. This is his 27th year coaching. So he's been in the game for a very long time.
He's old.
Yeah, he is old.
Yeah. Now Cooper's dad, Mike, is a good dude and very knowledgeable, of course, of the game. And the program over there at Baylor that he and Coach Ellie have put together is decent. I mean, it's all right, I guess. So yeah, rolling a couple of good players through there. I guess that they have a little bit of success. I don't know. But let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about before you got to Baylor. Let's talk about Team USA, because now, am I right that you got as a part of that is like 12 years old? Is that right?
Yes, 12U. I was on the Team USA team that won gold in Taiwan.
You went to Taiwan as a 12-year-old.
I did.
What was that like?
I did. Up until that point, it was the craziest experience I've ever had in my life. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. What is there anything that stands out when you think of that experience? What's the one thing that stands out the most?
I mean, there's a couple things really, but first off, I've never left the country before. I mean, I've traveled a little bit, but I've never left the United States, and going over to Taiwan was crazy. I really didn't know what to expect going over there. But the craziest thing to me was just the fans at that place. It was a professional baseball stadium, and I think it held 15,000. And
oh, wow.
The night the championship game, it was sold out. Every seat was taken. So there's 15,000 in attendance, and there was probably, 30 USA parents there, and the rest were, people from around. So it was ridiculous just how loud it was, and the style of, when you go down to Truist Park and go watch a Braves game, it's nothing like that. I mean, it was chanting, music going on, cheerleaders everywhere. It was crazy. It was so cool, like just to experience that, just because it's a total different style of baseball on that side of the world. And that was, the one thing that stood out to me is, and everybody kind of looked up to you being from the USA, which was a really cool experience, and got to meet a lot of different players from a lot of different countries that didn't speak a lick of English, but it was still a really cool experience.
Now, not on that kind of level, but I got an opportunity to play outside the country some when I was 20 years old. And I've told the story often about, we were there, we were in St. Martin down in the Caribbean
right.
On the 4th of July. And we played St. Martin's national team. And they came over. No, we were not Team USA. We were with Athletes in Action, but they considered us to be, the national team. And
right.
So they're playing the Americans, and they come over before the game, and they hand us each a flower and say, "Congratulations on your independence." Now, I think that's one of my favorite stories, because we grow up in America. We don't think about that. We don't think about what a big deal that is. But for someone,
right.
for you to be out of the country on the 4th of July and someone to acknowledge it, it really puts things in perspective. And I learned a lot about myself and how my country is viewed in the world when stepped outside of the country, which is kind of what I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely. It's just a different perspective, and being able to, put yourself in their shoes and see what it's like is really unique, and it's a one-of-a-kind opportunity.
Okay, moving on from that, because we could stop the interview right there and everybody would hear something that they've probably never heard before, basically that. But, Coop, sorry, you're not off the hook. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep talking. All right, going forward. So that's the Team USA experience at 12. Talk about the rest of your time with Team USA, because you stayed with them basically the rest of your amateur career, right?
I did. I got to go back multiple more times. I got to go for 14U National Team Development Program, 16U National Team Development Program as well. And I was part of 15U National Trials. I made it to the second phase. So, I got to be a part of that, and it was at the end of the summer every year, which was, I felt like a cool experience just to, get some different competition and a lot of really good players around, which was one of my favorite parts about it is, you get to showcase at the end of the summer and play with some really good players from all over the country, and just you all get together and get to play some baseball at the end, which was a really cool experience for me.
I mean, that's great. I want you to talk about that because, as you well know, there's a big difference between high school baseball and travel baseball in regards to the competition that you face. You can find whatever competition you want. If you're good enough, you can play against the very best in the country, or you can be a travel ball team out of, some small little place and just play almost what would be considered a rec schedule in regards to the competition that you play and the abilities that people have. So you got to play against the very best. What do you think that did for you in regards to, one, your development as a player, and two, your exposure as a player?
Right. I think that was a huge part of my amateur career, is just being able to get around really good players and see how I stacked up against them. And getting to compete at the highest level is something that makes you better, no doubt about it. I think just being around the best competition was something that drove me to push my game forwards. And, you could play around the area and you lose the perspective of what it's really like, because there's a lot of good players out there. And so you never really realize it until, you get out and play with the very best in the country. And that was something that I always loved to do, just because I love to compete and play with those really good players. And the more I got to be around the really good players, the more I felt like my game was advancing. And I think that developed me quite a bit. And just being around those good players, you learn things and you pick up on different things from different players. And that was another favorite part is, we talk about player to player. What's your thoughts on, approach, or what's your thought on fielding this ball, however. And it's something that's really cool is, getting their perspective on things as well as mine, and just kind of trying to be an open book and just add things along as I get to be around those really good players is something that I felt really helped me a lot.
That's a great way to look at it. So many people have such a small view and have no understanding of how good players are. But I mean, from the time you were 12 years old all the way up to now, you've played against the best in the world. And so certainly
I was talking to somebody today. They were talking about their kid with football, actually, and how to get them exposure. So it's very different, obviously, than baseball because there's no travel football leagues that I'm aware of. I know there's 7-on-7 and summer camps, and I kind of mentioned that. But I said that's why travel baseball has taken off so much, because it's best on best. You know, when you played for exposure, let's just dial it back from Team USA and let's talk about exposure. When you played for exposure, you played against the best in the country. They don't run from anybody. They go to all the big tournaments and they play. And the opportunity for you to stand in there against, let's say, the Astros or whoever, I mean, okay, everybody's coming to watch those guys. They're coming to watch these Cobb Astros, but guess what? They get to see you too. And it worked out pretty good for you. Let's talk about your exposure experience, because I got to coach you when you were, I don't know, what was it, 15? It was 15.
15,
yeah,
I think so.
I got to coach you there at 15s, and
Then he got the better pain at 16.
then you improved and got the better of the two pains when 16 when you played for Debo and TP. But let's talk about your time there, because I know those guys are special to you. They're fantastic guys and great supporters of their kids. Talk about exposure for a minute.
Yeah, I got to, play for both the Pains at some point, which is, pretty cool. Not going to say which one I liked better, but
it's all right. Everybody has the same. Everybody has the same answer on that.
But exposure for me was one of the biggest impacts on my amateur career. Dylan Boshiers and Brandon Turner, I've played for them, and that organization is one of the most top-notch organizations in the country. Competition-wise, I got a taste of the best competition in the nation just by playing for exposure. We got to go to all the big tournaments, and we were always looking for competition because, in the long run, it makes you better. And that's what advances a player, is getting to play with the best players and compete with those guys. And, I grew up playing for them. I started playing with them when I was 13 and all the way up until, the very end of travel ball. So it was a huge impact on my career, is just getting to play with those guys and, always being a competitive team and being around a really good group of guys all the time.
Yeah, that's a great group. I mean, I loved getting to coach you guys, and so many guys have gone on to play at the next level and will play their college careers, and hopefully some more guys will get drafted out of that. So, yeah, it's those guys do a great job, and they push their guys, and they are really 100% for their kids. So, I mean, it was an honor for me to be with them, and I gave lessons there for a long time, and I really want to make sure that we talked about those guys because they're fantastic. All right, so 3 state championships. Yes, you probably should have had 4. There's no doubt about it. Which one, you only get to pick one, which one was your favorite?
Man, that's a tough question.
It's got to be the first one, right?
I think it's the first one too, because the first one we were not really favored to win. We had some good players, but we are a really young team, and we had a good group of senior leaders. And I think that our team chemistry and just the leadership was huge for that trip. And it was the first where we were really competing to win it. There was a lot of good teams in the league that year, and we got to state, and it was a battle the whole way through. I mean, in the quarterfinals, we had a walk-off home run down to the last out, which pushed us on to the Final Four. So I think that whole time was a battle, and it was a grind, but we had a great group of guys that loved to compete and were really close. And so I think that one for me was the sweetest. And then, getting to repeat that 2 more times was, once in a lifetime thing for sure.
And getting to win it with your dad, that's really cool. I mean, I loved that Tyler was on the team that we won it when we won it at Macaulay. So,
right.
I mean, that's awesome. Let me go back, because you mentioned something that I was going to mention. So that quarterfinal game, the walk-off home run, Teddy hits that home run, Teddy Lepsio. I want to tell you something, and I don't know if I ever told you this before, but I've told this story lots of times. The Briarcrest coach, I still knew him, okay? So he called me before he played you guys and said, Coach, tell me about Baylor. I said, I can't really tell you that much about Baylor because, it's been a year or so and I haven't watched them. And I said, but let me tell you this. The best hitter on their team is a freshman. His name's Cooper Kinney. Don't let him beat you, because I don't care if he's a freshman, he's a stud. I said, that's number one. He goes, well, what about the kids that you do know? I said, Lepsio, do not, under any circumstances, make a mistake on a fastball. Now, I'm watching the game. I'm not in this office where I am now. We're in an office downtown at the time. I'm watching the game on Game Changer because, you know, I'm interested. So I'm watching the game on Game Changer, and it runs that count. I don't even remember what the count was, but then Teddy hits a home run, and I asked somebody, what pitch did they throw? They threw him a fastball. Like, why do you call me and ask me what to pitch, and then you throw the very thing I told you not to do, you did. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I was glad for you guys. But
right. Oh yeah. That was one of the most crazy games I've ever been in. Just the last inning, we're down one. You know, we're trying to chip away. We're top of the lineup. Bradley Garland's up first. Draws a walk. Good at bat. So they run on first. Nobody out. Garrick Evil's up. Singles to left. We're like, wow, we got a chance. First and second. Nobody out.
Here it comes.
And I'm up to bat, and I'm pretty nervous. Freshman up there in a clutch situation. Bradley Garland got picked off. To us, we're one out, run out first. I ended up getting hit in the foot, and Teddy comes up, and Teddy's one of the senior leaders that really helped us win. He was a great guy and even a better leader. Yeah, just an outstanding guy. Mm-hmm. What a leader he was, and he's up there, and if I could put my money on one guy in that lineup, it's Teddy, just because, he's a composed guy, and, he's the senior leader, and I would put my money on him every day. And he hit that home run, and it was crazy. I mean, just getting to experience a walk-off, especially in playoffs, was super cool for me. One of my favorite Baylor memories, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And, it was the right guy up there at the right situation, and he delivered. That's fantastic. So, it was fun to watch you guys. It wasn't probably much fun for anybody in the league because how many games you guys lose in those 3+ years?
Probably 12, 13.
Yeah.
And how many of those actually came to teams outside of the division, like an IMG, where y'all lost like 1-0?
That was most of them. I think we lost one in conference game, or we lost 2, I guess, and the rest were kind of out of conference stuff. So.
That's a good thing you didn't play against 2014 Macaulay.
Right. I would like to put the Macaulay 2014 roster right next to the Baylor roster the year y'all won, the first time y'all won it, and just compare those rosters. We had one dude, or maybe two, go play college baseball at a 4-year university. That was me.
We were not the most talented team, but you know what we were? We were the best team, and that matters. We were
no doubt scrappy team.
Yep, it was a scrappy team. Those kids were tough. They believed in themselves. But you guys, I like what you said about the first one was probably your favorite because you weren't expected to win it. It is really hard when you're the favorite and you're the clear favorite. It's really hard to win. Yep. But you guys managed to do it anyway because, again, you had a couple of decent players on the team. Just a couple.
No doubt.
Yeah.
The pressure was way more the second and third time. No doubt about it. But the first time was just, we didn't have anything to lose, and that pushed us to, gave us a little bit of a confidence boost.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about you committed pretty early. You committed to South Carolina and signed, right? I mean, that's you go ahead and do all that.
Yes, right. I did.
Talk about your recruiting process just a little bit.
So I ended up actually committing the fall of my sophomore year. So most of my college recruitment was in freshman year. And obviously, knowing coaches are going to be there is a big deal. And for me, the one thing that I tried to do every game was show that I had a lot of energy and that I like to hustle. And I felt like that was, two things that most coaches can see out of any players, their attitude first off, and how hard they play second off. And, obviously a coach is not going to come watch you if they don't think you're talented. But those two things, I think, for me were the two things I tried to focus on when a college coach would come watch me. And getting to experience that for the first time ever is, a college coach coming to watch you when I was a freshman was a crazy experience. I was actually playing for Coach Payne. So that was pretty cool. But, you know, just getting to go to those big tournaments with a lot of good competition and playing in front of a college coach was a little stressful, but to me it was a blast. Just getting to, you know, show my stuff and play hard every single game was super cool.
Yeah, I love what you said there, because I preached for years when I was coaching. I preached for years. If the guy's here to watch you play, he already knows you can play. He wants to see how you play. He wants to see you fail, how you respond. So you just back that up with that, and I couldn't agree with you more. That's good stuff. All right, so tell me, did you narrow it down, or is it South Carolina? I definitely want to go there. Did you have 4 or 5 places in mind, or when South Carolina offered, did you know that was it?
I did. I had a few options. I narrowed it down, and I had Tennessee was one of my options. South Carolina, obviously, Stanford, and Air Force was another big one. So I had a few, you know, places that I really liked, but South Carolina to me stood out. It was one of my favorites. Just the environment there, the coaching staff was awesome, and I feel like I could get better as a player there. Just getting to be in that environment with really good players, obviously, in an SEC environment was going to be great.
Oh yeah, for sure. South Carolina, traditional power of several traditional powers in the SEC. I mean, that's
right.
It's the best league going, no matter what anybody thinks. I mean, it's all you got to do is just look at this. Just look at the records. They're there. Look at the players coming out of there. It's the way it works. So yeah, you went from Team USA, state champion in Baylor. You're going to go into the best conference there. So I mean, you were certainly prepared for that, but you chose not to go there. Let's talk about what it's like to be drafted. I want to talk about your draft day, okay? Because I kind of followed you a little bit through Dylan. I would say, what's going on with Cooper?
Right.
Where, and he would tell me, you know, and Brandon said at one time he thinks, you know, I think he's going to be top 5, top 3 round, something like that. And then you just kept climbing up the board. The only other person that I've ever known that climbed up like that and shot all the way into the first round was Charlie Culberson. And when Charlie was in high school, he was obviously really good, and he committed and signed to Kennesaw State. And my buddy Ryan is the head coach down there. He was assistant then, and he kept telling me, I don't think we're going to get Culberson. I don't think we're going to get him. I said, why? He said, I think he's going to get drafted so high he's going to have to sign. And that's what happened. And of course, it's worked out well for Charlie. He's been on a lot of big league teams and been in the big leagues for a long time, which is the ultimate goal. But I want to hear about your draft day story.
Right. So, you know, leading up to it, just finished school ball and got to go to a bunch of pro workouts in the summer, which was super cool. And obviously a different feel because every other summer I'd been playing summer ball somewhere and playing in tournaments, but I got to go to all the pro workouts, which was super cool, and be around a lot of scouts. But draft day was the craziest day of my life up to this point. Just at first, you know, in the morning, I was kind of trying to get my mind off things. Got to go on the boat a little bit, hang out in the sun. So, you know, draft night, and I was in a unique spot because I didn't really know where I was going to fall. There was a chance I was on the first night. It was just the first round, first 36 picks were the first night, and then obviously, you know, going into the second day, I had a chance to be there as well, and it was a kind of a 50-50 shot at being the first day or the second day, which made it even more stressful as I didn't know if I was even going to go on the first night. And so I didn't really have very many friends over because I really had no idea where I was going to end up. And so it was a definitely a unique situation. And so, you know, I had some family over and we settled in to watch it. And you know, obviously the draft is a long process, especially the first day. I mean, 36 picks took multiple hours to work out, and so I got to see my name on the board of possible prospects coming off at about pick 25, which was cool. Just got to see my name on the TV, and then about I think pick 31, I got a call from my agent, and he said, "Hey, Tampa Bay Rays offering the slot value, pick number 34. Are you in?" And of course, you know, my dad was on the phone with me, and, you know, it was just every emotion you could possibly think of rushed through my body. It was crazy. I was in shock. It was so cool. And then about pick 32, the Rays called me and said, "Hey, you know, the typical, hey, you excited to be a Ray?" Absolutely. I was more than excited. And pick 34. I got to see my name on the TV, which is a once in a lifetime thing. It was so cool. And, I got to celebrate with my family, and it was just a great all around experience just to be in that situation, which was super cool.
I love that. I love that you revealed that they called ahead of time and said, "Hey, are you in?" Because I don't think people understand the jockeying that goes on as far as the draft goes. They don't just pick a name and go, "This is who we want." They've already negotiated on the front end. I mean, they know. Sometimes it happens that the guys don't sign, of course, but that's a lot of money, and that's to be taking a flyer on somebody. So they know, they kind of know, and obviously do their homework. But they've already, before they actually pick you, they've already talked to you. That day. So I like that you said that, because that's kind of a look behind the curtain that people just don't necessarily, unless you are really involved in the game, you don't know that part of it. You just watch the draft and you see what you see. But there's so much more to it than that. It's crazy. All right, so I liked when you talked about going to some of the pro days. That's really cool. Logan Workman, who I know TP that's one of his roommates, and and so
former roommate.
One of his former roommates. Yeah, he's been unceremoniously booted now that he's a professional baseball player.
Every time he comes back up to Cleveland, we're like, "All right, dude, so you're gonna have to pay a little bit of rent today." Okay?
Yeah, you can't.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Logan, of course, is drafted by the Rays too, and Tyler got to experience some of that with him when it's going on. So it's very, very cool that with you and Logan and Cole Wilcox now are all, live from a very close area, and you guys are all in the same professional organization. So Logan talked about some of the pro days that he got to go on too, and he's goofy, this. So,
Very goofy.
But it was cool listening to him, because Tyler put him on the speakerphone. I think he was getting one of his favorite meals. What was it? China, the panda. What was it?
Oh, it's one of them pad thai things that he would always bring to the house. We're like, dude,
was it frozen?
It was frozen. So I said, dude, once you get drafted, you can't eat like this anymore. He goes, yeah, that's why I'm eating like it right now, so I can enjoy it.
All right, so you get drafted, you go, you sign, you go off to pro ball. Talk about that experience, because you're 18 years old. You've been all over the world, but now you're away from home. Mom and dad aren't there. You are a big league ball player. You got a couple of dollars to your name. Talk about what that was like.
Honestly, it was a crazy experience, because I've lived at home. I just graduated high school, so obviously I hadn't moved out yet. And so I got down there, and I had all my stuff in the back of my truck. I had my truck with me, and I went to get my apartment key and said, "Hey man, be at the field tomorrow, 7:00. See you there." And I was on my own.
Yep.
And I was just like, obviously it was just a really weird feeling to be alone for the first time and not have, my parents with me. It was just me and my truck. So it was a cool experience. And Logan Workman was the first person I actually saw down there.
Oh, that's cool. So you were in Port Charlotte?
I was in Port Charlotte.
Okay.
I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. I don't know what that made you think, but no, I'm obviously kidding. I like Logan a lot.
Yeah, so Logan's the first person I saw down there, which obviously I knew Logan.
Yeah.
He's being a player in the area. I've known him for a long time, so that was a cool thing for him to be there with me and experiencing it for the first time, which was obviously something that was super cool, and I loved it. It was a blast.
Now,
it was a very unique feeling.
Over Christmas break last year, y'all hit, or I think he threw live to you guys at Macaulay or something like that. Were you there for that, or was that just John and Carter and all them?
I was. We did live ABs at Saudi Middle School.
Saudi. Okay. How cool is that?
Yeah.
That, a couple months later, the two of you guys get taken by the same organization. That's got to be special.
It's crazy. It's so cool. I was just taking live ABs from him at Saudi Middle School, and now I'm in the same big league organization as him, which was, a crazy thing for me.
Did you see how TP tried to slide that Macaulay in there? Did you see that?
Well,
there you go. I heard it.
They were at Macaulay at one point in time, maybe not that time.
I've done some live ABs at Macaulay before, so
I don't think security knew that you were there. I don't know how you got in.
Probably
Carter.
So, all right, let's move on to kind of what do you see? Of course, you see yourself as being in the big leagues immediately. I mean, in the dream world, of course. Well, kind of what is your progression? What have they laid out for you? What they see for you, and what position you're going to play, and where your assignment's going to be next year? Do you have any idea of any of these things?
Not really, and that's kind of the cool thing about it is, they sort of lay it out for you, but they kind of just keep it, up in there, and it's up to you to see how you move. And position wise, I got to move around and play a lot of different positions at the start, and that's something that the Rays like to do is they like to have some versatile players in their lineup. So I feel like I fit that mold pretty good. And so moving up through is a different process, and obviously it's unique for everybody, but it's going to be cool just to, see how that works out, because to be honest, I really don't know how it's going to work out. And so I'm, excited to see, what happens in the near future, but it's going to be fun just to, get to experience moving up and getting to play some more games and getting to play a full season.
Well, it's not your job to worry about all that. It's your job just to put your head down and play hard. All right. So you mentioned, you talked about your versatility, and that's true. I mean, I think I've seen you play every infield position, including catcher. But you didn't pitch for me that summer. You didn't pitch. I don't remember if you had an arm there, or if that was, we just didn't use you there. But I go to watch you play your senior year, and you're playing Gordon Lee, a great program. Jake's throwing against you. You guys, you throw Jay, and it's a great matchup. And the next thing I know, you're on the mound. What was that? Did you beg your dad to pitch?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm always looking for an inning on the mound. I mean, that's something I've always wanted to do. So, I'm playing third base, and my dad's like, "Hey, go warm up." And I thought he was joking with me for a second. I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, go get in the bullpen." I was like, "No way!" I sprinted out there. I got in the game. I mean, hit a couple people. Well,
I mean, you're just
roller coaster of an inning, but got through it.
Well,
I was about the end of my pitching career.
You didn't pitch anymore?
I pitched. I threw 3 innings total.
I'm just amazed that he threw you in that game. I mean, Jay.
I know, the first game of the year. I was like, "Hey, man, give me an inning this year." He's like, "All right, we'll see. First game, I'm in the freaking relief."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No way."
I'm sitting there watching the game, and I don't have my glasses because I think, if I remember, it rained a little bit that game. And I don't like to wear my glasses when it rains. So I'm watching, and I'm texting Dylan about the game because he told me he was going to come with me, and then he backed out because he's too cheap, and he had to have his lessons, and he didn't want to cancel his lessons. So I'm there by myself watching. I don't care. And I told Dylan, I think that's Cooper that's pitching. He goes, "No, that's not Cooper." And I'm like, "No, I really think it is." and because, again, I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't tell so well, but it really was you. And I thought, what are they doing? I thought maybe they lost a bet and you got to throw an inning in the first game. So no, it was, you thought they were tricking you. And
it was legit. It was legit.
And you had dominating stuff too. Stuff.
I mean, absolutely. What do you expect?
I think you threw a big hook and struck somebody out, and I was like, "That's pretty good." So, but you didn't get drafted to be a pitcher. You're not going to do that. Your dude can absolutely hit. Listen, folks, if you have not had the pleasure of seeing this guy swing the bat, you have to see him as he climbs up the ladder. I don't care how you do it. The guy can really, really hit. I said, you were easily the best hitter in town. That is no reflection of anybody else. It's certainly not a slam. It's just you were so much better than everybody else, and I love to watch you hit. So I'm excited to see.
I appreciate that.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I'm excited to see what you do, and I love the fact that you're like, I don't have any idea what they want me to do, but I know you, and I know you well, and I know you're going to keep working. And I know that if you don't, Dad's going to come down there, and he'll take care of business, and they'll jack you up if he needs to.
Absolutely.
So, all right, okay. So we've talked about Dad a couple of times, and he and I are friends, so it's okay for me to say that. But we got to talk about Mom and Sis. All right, you got to give them some airtime.
For sure. So my mom she got to play some college basketball, so she's an athlete, and she works at the school. This is her 8th year at the school at Baylor. So, and then I've got 2 younger sisters. They're both volleyball players, actually. One's a junior this year and one's in 7th grade. So got some younger sisters, both athletes. So pretty athletic family.
Yep.
So
Now, your sister, is she being recruited in volleyball?
she is. She's being recruited. Going to be a D1 volleyball player somewhere. Not decided yet, but she's kind of getting to go through the college recruiting process too. So it's a pretty cool experience for her to get to do that too. So
you were the pioneer. You got to lead the way there. So mom and dad kind of know what to expect.
Sure.
Now,
for sure.
do they like being kind of, without you? Do they dominate the house now that they don't have Big Brother there?
So it was a little different coming back. Room got emptied out. still had the bed though. So
that's really
all I needed.
That's all that matters. That's right. All right, guys. Cooper, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? Anything that you want to make sure that you say? Because we've had a pretty in-depth interview here.
I think I'm good.
Okay, Tyler. Anything you want to shoot at him?
Go blue.
That's dirty.
No way. No big red.
That's dirty. Ryan, you can't be involved in the Macaulay Baylor stuff, but you can.
I'm an outsider.
If you want to take a shot at Logan Workman right now is a good time, and Cooper will agree.
Because we're definitely going to have him on soon, and that's going to be a heck of an interview.
Yeah, Cooper, you might be careful what you say because we're going to have Logan on, so you don't want to give him too much.
We'll just have to dog Logan about not being the highest draft pick in the area. That's what we're going to have to dog him
Yeah,
about.
we will. We definitely will.
Hey, you guys need to ask Logan about his golf game. It was struggling when I played with him.
So here's what's so bad. He was right before he got drafted. He wasn't very good at golf. All right, and so he goes off, and y'all got quite a bit of downtime over there. And
no doubt.
I don't know how good he was with you guys. He definitely got better because when he got back, he's got some money now, and I was like, what?
Sure.
Let's start betting on the holes. Well, my goodness, he got so much better than he was when he was in Cleveland. I lost $40.
No kidding.
He's a shark.
I lost $40.
The funny story, the first day I got there, I saw Logan move my stuff in, and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to go play golf?" I was like, "Logan, it's 100 degrees out there." It's 2 o'clock.
Well, here's another story. Last Christmas, Workman got a brand new set of clubs for Christmas. Okay.
There you go.
And it was not like this year. The weather was ridiculously cold. It was 26 degrees. And I said, dude, why? Because he wanted to test out his new clubs. I said, dude, why don't we just go to Top Golf? They got heaters there, and you can bring your clubs in. Nobody's gonna look at you funny, and we'll just whack some golf balls. No, he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go play actual golf. So the only course open on December 26th is Concord, which is basically concrete.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And,
concrete.
and the ground is frozen solid. And so we paid for 18 holes. And I'm like, gosh, it's terrible. And we got a couple of his other buddies from Saudi golfing with us. And I tell you what, by the second hole, we were like, at the turn, I think we're just gonna go to Top Golf. And I was pissed. Like, come on, Workman.
That's good stuff. There is nothing like sitting around with baseball guys just shooting the breeze and dogging each other, and so
No kidding.
now you get paid to do that, so it's even better. Coop,
Almost. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know you're busy. I know you're getting ready to not for too long. You got to take off and become a professional baseball player again, right under someone's nose. The off season is it's tough when there's nobody watching you, but you're watching you, and that matters. So I know you'll get down there and be who you are. I'm not worried about that at all. I look forward to watching you progress and get all the way to the big leagues. And when you do that, we'll have you back on, or maybe before then. We want to hear more stories.
Definitely have to come down and watch you play at some point.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
for
I
sure.
appreciate you guys.
All right, Coop. Make sure you tell the family hello. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support through the years. And we'll be watching. We are Cooper Kinney fans for sure. So take care of yourself.
Sounds good. Thank you guys.